A lot of people will say, well, aren't you kind of dabbling in coaching if you're not doing it full time? And I tell people, Law Firm Mentor definitely takes up the majority of my time of the places that I am in because I have high-level strategic people in C-suites running my other companies. But I also very much still am a lawyer. I speak as a lawyer. I'm not just one who gets paid on TV. And the speaking circuit for lawyering is very much still running contemporaneously with now the speaking circuit for business coaching. Hi there, everybody. It is Allison Williams here, your Law Firm Mentor, and welcome back to another episode of the Crushing Chaos with Law Firm Mentor podcast. So you're probably thinking, oh my God, how is this possible? Where has she been? I have not heard a new episode in years. And it is true. We are back. We are back after 2+ years of being out of the world of podcasting. And so I wanted to record this episode to let you know that we are officially back, and also to tell you a little bit about where we've been, why I have been where I've been, and what is coming up for you now that the podcast is kicking off again. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is, for those of you that are new to the podcast and are hearing this episode for the first time, or perhaps have just forgotten, we here at Law Firm Mentor are committed to helping law firm CEOs to grow their revenues, crush chaos in business, and make more money. So what does that mean for you? What does that mean from a qualitative perspective? So growing revenues, all about marketing and sales, right? We are a business coaching service. We help law firm owners to grow their top line revenue, but we know that growing top line revenue is not enough, right? Doesn't matter how big your top line is, if your bottom line that's coming to you, that benefit to you is not going to get there. And so in order to get there, in order that cash come to your pocket, not just grow on your lovely balance sheet and on your profit and loss statement, but that money go to you. In order for that to happen, you have to systematize your business. And that comes through the form of crushing chaos, right? That's what that second part of our slogan really means. And when we talk about crushing chaos, we mean crushing all chaos. That means chaos in all chambers of your business, all systems of your business. And we want you to do that in a way that allows you to create a business that you desire. For some of you, that means having a super huge mega firm where you've got a gazillion departments, you have department heads, you have administrative team, you have C-suite, and you are running a corporation and very much enjoying the fruits of your labor of having an 8, 9, 10-figure company or larger. And for many of you, it is a lifestyle law firm, a law firm where you derive multiple 6 figures in income. You have a very comfortable lifestyle, but what you ultimately desire is to have that lifestyle together with balance and freedom. So you may work 1 or 2 days a week. You may work every day of the week, but only on projects that you enjoy. You might have a very light load. You might be the type of person who uses your company as one of many in a suite of companies, something that I personally do, which we're going to talk about. Or you might be the kind of person who says, I enjoy my work and I really want to work, but I just don't want to be tethered to work in a way that does not allow me the freedom to decide when I want to work and when I don't. So if you want that, we can help you to create that as well. Now, the final piece, of course, is what everyone wants, which is to make more money, right? So you can't make more money until you have a good, steady, healthy top line revenue, but you also have to systematize your company into a way that you can preserve what's created in order to generate and consistently take a fair amount of profit. And that is what making more money is all about. Now, for some of you, making more money is all about you, all about you and nobody but you, right? You want the sexy house, you want the big car, you want the elite schools for your kids, you want to be able to take European vacations 4 or 5 times a year. Nothing wrong with that. Love a lavish lifestyle, right? And then there's others of you that are very philanthropic. And what you desire to do is you want to create money so that you can be an agent of change in our world. You want to be able to create scholarships for your own children and others. You want to be able to give to the community. Maybe you come from a community that has been particularly disenfranchised or disadvantaged, and you want to be a contributor to that community. Maybe what you truly desire is just to have security. And I know a lot of people hawk on security and say that we need to be very skeptical of people who desire security. But as somebody who has a very, very, very low risk tolerance, I know most people would not think that about me as a serial entrepreneur, but I do. I have a very low risk tolerance and I have to push myself out of the comfort zone all the time. But as somebody who has that profile, I used to think that there was something wrong with me and I had to be fixed into desiring to be in an urgent state of rushing to the next high all the time. And that really isn't true. There is nothing wrong with seeking security and creating security. Now, if your threshold is that you create security to the detriment of everything you want to do, because you're so concerned about being safe that you won't take risks, that you won't make calculated decisions, that you don't release people who are no longer a fit for your company, things like that, you ultimately are harming your interests by your security need. But having a security need in and of itself is not wrong. In fact, what creates stability in our society are the people who are hunting down security, because those are the folks that are building the systems and the processes and keeping our world safe. And frankly, that is very much rooted in our profession as lawyers. So if we're going to help you do those things, we're going to help you grow revenues, crush chaos in business, and make more money, we have to think about how are we going to do that, right? And this podcast has always been my baby, one of my mini babies, to help me to contribute to our profession in that way, and very much contribute to you in helping you get the insights that you need in order to get the value of growing revenues, crushing chaos, and making more money. So I've been gone for a while, but not off the scene. I've been gone from the podcasting world, and I want to tell you a little bit about why that is. So in late 2022, one of my dearest friends, who also was my executive assistant since the beginning of the company, she retired. And I took that very hard. That was a very sad moment for me. But at the same time as that was happening, I was also gaining a rock star. And our COO, Leanne Inquest, joined us, and we started really hunkering down and thinking about not just what we wanted to create in the company, but how we wanted to get there. And there are a lot of companies that feel that what's most important at all times, and no matter the cost, is grow, 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 grow. And there's nothing wrong with fueling growth. There are definitely times to put your foot on the pedal, but there are also times to be very calculated and to stop and pause and say, do I really want bigger, better, faster right now? Or do I want to build a stronger infrastructure? Do I want to think more intentionally about where we're going? Do I want to create something different? And that was really where my head was at. And I said, I want to continue to grow the company, but I want to do so in a way that aligns with what I want to create in the world. And I think that in many ways, Law Firm Mentor is the answer to a lot of the challenges that people will connote and share with us when they talk to us about coaching in general, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, what they need from it, what they don't get from it in other places. And I just decided that I wanted to build better. And I was most concerned about building the best product, not building the fastest or even the biggest, at least not at this stage. So at that time, I said, let's stop and pause and kind of restructure some things. So we started adding in a whole lot of institutional and infrastructure changes to LFM that really made the company much better and have made it very different than it was even 2 years ago. One of the major things we did is we launched a membership site. And the membership site allows people to come in and get information and get some guidance and some access to coaching in a way that allows them to test the waters, to get their feet wet. And once upon a time, I was very ideologically opposed to that. And I want to be very clear about that. My thinking on that has shifted a little bit. Once upon a time, I thought, a lot of people are just not going to step bravely into what they need to do. And you providing something cheap and easy for them just lures them into their own continued insolence, right? They don't move in the direction or to the degree that they need to. They harm themselves into thinking they have plenty of time, and then they ultimately don't get better. And there's definitely truth to that. I've seen a lot of people in that situation. But there are also a lot of people who, if given the opportunity to just build their own internal reservoir, right? They've been burned by other companies. They've been burned by long-term contracts. And their attitude is, I can't trust anyone who's offering me a contract. I can't trust anyone who says that I can't try it for 30 days and return it if I don't like it. So therefore, I just won't work with anyone. And I didn't want people to have that response either. Now, I am never going to be a person who says, let me step down to your limiting belief as a way of running my company. But I do think that there is something to be said about allowing lawyers some degree of internal confidence when they don't have it. And the easiest way to do that is to let people have an experience of you so that they can know what they're going to get when they come. And they can build from there the level of knowledge and the level of comfort that's required for them to really step into something bigger. And if I can help people get over that threshold, I don't see any reason why not to do that. So I ultimately allowed myself to be convinced to allow LFM to build a membership site. And we're really proud of it. It is a very low-cost offering. It is a place where you come just to get information, and you get access to see some of the types of coaching that's facilitated here. You don't get coaching, right? Because coaching is a high-value item, and it's not being sold for free here. But you do get access, and you get to start to get your feet wet and start to see the quality of information that you're going to ultimately experience when you have forms and checklists and data and things built out for you behind the paywall here in our coaching community. So there's that. The second thing we did that I was also very skeptical about is the marketing arm. So now here at LFM, we have an entire marketing division where people can come separate and apart from coaching, either as an add-on to coaching or even just if they want it without coaching, is we allow people to buy marketing services. Now, having been a law firm owner for over a decade now, I recognize the challenges with marketers. We all have experienced those challenges, right? The challenges are almost universally that you hire a marketer, they're great, they're sexy, they're fun, they know how to sell you, they know how to get you all wrapped up about your vision and your brand, and they're going to work with you. And then they come in and like you start working with them 5 minutes in and people start leaving, and next thing you know, they have tripled in size, and all of a sudden the amount of hours they gave you has to be drastically curtailed, and you can't get anybody on the phone, and things start happening, right? Little things start happening, like suddenly you get locked out of your Google AdWords account. Or worse, someone set a budget that was 3 times what you authorized, and oops, we spent it on words that don't really fit with your keyword necessity in your practice area, right? Stuff like that starts to happen. And I have had that experience over and over and over and over and over and over again as a law firm owner. So I know how frustrating it is. But having said that, I spent a lot of time teaching myself through working with a lot of really good marketers, frankly, because I've had really good marketers as my previous providers. Many of them helped me to understand the process, the structure, what's going on, how search engine optimization works, how pay-per-click advertising works, how content creation works, how to create lead magnets and funnels and things like that, right? And I knew that I did not personally want to get into that space, but I did think that if I could control for the quality delivery, right, how many hours of service, how many clients are going to be provided per user or per employee, then I could do a better job of delivering the service. And not necessarily because we are America's next top marketer, but because there's a certain level of science, there's a certain level of artistry, and those two have to meld. And the artistry piece is the piece that we get sold on, but it is really the service piece that is almost always going to carry the day to get you more leads, to get you higher quality leads, and to get your firm growing. And so I wanted to be able to provide that. And I wanted to make sure that as we were providing that we were also coaching our clients on how to be better consumers of marketing. Because whether they are with us now, they get their firm to a certain size, they're kind of locked and loaded, they bring it in-house, they decide they don't want to do it anymore, whatever it is. I don't want to be another person who takes a check from a lawyer because lawyers have checks to write. I wanted to be a person who could provide the service in a way that helped lawyers to be better at the end of the process, no matter what they were choosing to do with marketing this business or any other. So we have now created that. We have the Law Firm Mentor marketing arm, which I'm really excited about. We've been in that business now for about a year, and we have helped our clients immensely. You're going to hear from some of our clients about the marketing arm. Actually, one of the things I'm really excited about to talk to you about a little bit later are some of the things that we're adding into the podcast that are going to be a little bit different than how we handled it before. But that is one of the things to actually hear from some of our clients. So we're going to talk about that. Now, that's kind of in the company front. A whole lot of things have been happening in the career front and in the personal front. So for those of you that follow this podcast because you actually like me as a human, I know there's probably a few of you that are out there like that. I get to meet you at these different legal conferences, which is really exciting. But in all seriousness, the legal conferences is something that we stepped into a lot last year. And so last year and even the year before, I had been kind of on the circuit. I've been somebody who has been in the public eye and done public speaking, built my legal career. Many of you know I built a $700,000 book of business before I even stepped into my own law firm, just by marketing myself as a lawyer, as an associate. But I remember when I decided that I was going to step into being a law firm owner, it was really scary. But the one thing I was not scared of is being able to generate clients, because by that time I had gotten to a place where I could generate clients, right? And one of the things that I had done to do that was public speaking. So I'm not new to public speaking, but I was really excited when I started doing that in the world of speaking to lawyers about business, because not only do we need to hear somebody who's entertaining and knows how to speak, but we also need to hear it from the perspective of someone who both does coaching and owns a law firm. And the reason I think that's important is because there are things that once you just become a coach, when you step away from lawyering, if lawyering was something you did because it was a job or it brought in a high enough income for your family and you weren't in love with it, nothing wrong with that, right? I'm not trying to put down people who don't love lawyering. But if you didn't love it and it was just something you tolerated and then you got away from it, when you become a coach, you oftentimes can stay away from it and stay away from it from a perspective that almost stymies your ability to stay current on what the restrictions are, what the ethics rules are, what some of the limitations are, some of the advantages and some of the ways in which lawyers are experiencing changes in our world, like AI and technology and all of that. And I don't have that hamstring because I both run my law firm and I run Law Firm Mentor, in addition to 2 other companies now, but I still run both of those contemporaneously. So there's a lot of time that I spend that I have to stay on top of the rules, the regulations, the requirements, etc., in a way that many other lawyer coaches don't have to. And I think it's important to know that, because a lot of people will say, well, aren't you, kind of dabbling in coaching if you're not doing it full time? And I tell people, Law Firm Mentor definitely takes up the majority of my time of the places that I am in, because I have high-level strategic people in C-suites running my other companies. But I also very much still am a lawyer. I speak as a lawyer. I'm not just one who gets paid on TV. Right? And, the speaking circuit for lawyering is very much still running contemporaneously with now the speaking circuit for business coaching. So really excited. Last couple of years, I've spoken and will be speaking this year as well at ABA Tech Show, at the Clio Conference, the Association of Legal Administrators, and just a host of different places where I've had the pleasure of meeting so many different lawyers from across the country at different levels of business, at different size of firms, with different practice areas, different dreams, some very entrepreneurial, some just love lawyering, but we're all in it together, and that's kind of cool. So that was really fun. And then also in the personal world, I think you guys have seen me flashing a little bit here. I got engaged. So I have been with my sweetie now since beginning of 2022, and we're now in year 3 and loving life and living life. And we are set to get married in June of 2026. Official date is 6/6/26. So I'm really excited about that. And I share that with you because I think for a lot of people, there is a belief that you kind of build life in a certain way, right? We graduate from high school, we graduate from college, we meet the person, we get married, we have kids, we build the career, we start the practice, and on and on and on. And there are so many different trajectories for how to build life. And one of the things that I always tell people is that there is no one size fits all. And if you had a very traditional foray from your start of life as an adult into your current state of being a law firm owner, married with kids or divorced with kids or whatever you are, great. You have an experience that many people share. But I think most of our clients, not all, certainly we have some very traditional, very classically trained big law attorney leaves and starts his or her own practice type lawyers. But many of our lawyers have evolved from whatever state of being they came into the practice with, right? And then they just kind of hit the jagged edges of being themselves and had to find their way into the path that worked for them. And sometimes that means people who left law school and had to hang a shingle because they couldn't get a job. Sometimes that means people who took 3 times to pass the bar and were working as a waitress until they could, and then finally got a legal internship, realized it was going to take them far longer to be able to support their children. And let's say they already had children by that time and said, nope, can't do that, hung a shingle. Could be folks that left a large law firm very comfortable, didn't have any concern about how to support him or herself, but decided that they were just not into the practice area anymore. They were burnt out on what they were doing. They wanted something completely different and decided to partner up with someone else doing something that they like to do so that they could learn it, so that they could have mentorship while they are building the business. But whatever the pathway is that got you to being a law firm owner, that streak of I do it my way has to be there, right? And it's oftentimes in us that causes us to say, hey, I don't really want to do it the way that I'm told the books are laying out for me to do it. I want to do it my way. And so there's very much a doing it my way attitude that kind of infiltrated me, and I was living life and for a long time feeling like there was something wrong with me because I was doing it my way and not the way that I was told it was supposed to be done. And it was only when I realized how free I was compared to people who were doing it the way it was supposed to be done while I was doing it my way that I said, hey, you know what? There's a beauty in this. And other people should know that life gets a lot easier when you just start doing what the F you want. So in any event, I'm going to bring you some more of that and some more of those life lessons, because I do think that those life lessons are very much rooted in how to create what you want in business. And it becomes a lot easier, by the way, to create a lot in business very quickly, very profitably when you do it your way. All right. Now, I want to shift and talk about the podcast. Okay. So I've kind of caught you a little bit up to speed on what's going on with me, what's going on with Law Firm Mentor, where we have been, what's been going on. But now I want to talk to you about what you're going to expect in the future. So from the episodes we have coming up, here's what we got going on. The first thing I want to share with you is that we're still going to be fundamentally as we were before. I'm still going to be teaching and sharing with you on the podcast. Whole lot of folks have approached us over the years. Most of our clients tell us that they have listened to the podcast, that they found us on the podcast, that they get information, guidance, support, strategies from the podcast, and knew that they could be helped here just by virtue of listening to what we were helping them with absolutely free of charge when they were listening to the podcast. Okay, so that's going to remain. Okay, that's pretty much a core tenet of my being now. I'm always teaching when I'm on a microphone somewhere. But I wanted to add in a couple of elements that I think from everything that you guys have given us feedback over the years and from what our clients tell us is really going to be exciting. So the first thing is what I will refer to as the sexy topics. Okay. Now, sexy topics can be any number of things. We're not going to be that kind of sexy topic. Okay. It's not that kind of podcast. But I will say this. I am recording this on MLK Day, which is also Inauguration Day. And I think that's a sexy topic. Now, that's a very controversial topic, and I don't know that we are in a space to go there because I honestly just am really tired of all the vitriol around us in this world. And for all of the strong opinions on both sides of the aisle, I am still a very purple person. So I get stuck between the red and the blue. And, I obviously have a lot of ideological alignments because I am a member of many different groups, many different disenfranchised groups or less than groups or groups treated a certain way in society and all of those things. So a lot of times my politics diverge with those demographics, and that creates its own world of purple. But because I'm purple, I love both red and blue. And loving both red and blue means it's really hard to be in the political climate that we're in right now. So I really don't want to go into politics on this podcast. But I just say that MLK Day and Inauguration Day are sexy topics because there are things that you can learn as a law firm owner about the polarization in the world of politics, right? So we're going to be talking not just about this particular topic, but more importantly and more characterologically, we're going to be talking about how some of the stuff that's happening in the world relates to you. Right? What is it that you can take away from the marketing genius of Taylor Swift and Beyonce, right? What can you learn from the Swifties and the Beehive? There are things that we can share with you about that. And the beautiful thing is that our core tenets, growing revenue, crushing chaos in business, and making more money, those things naturally exist in all of our world all of the time. There's just no way to escape it. And so there are a lot of things that are going to be showing up in the news that I'm going to be talking about that I'm going to relate to you so that you can start seeing some of your own positive attributes, some of your own opportunities and threats in your law firm through the lens of the world. Now, the last section of the podcast that I know you guys are going to be excited about, this is really where value comes 100% to you. And this is where you get a chance to speak to me. We're going to give you the opportunity to get some live coaching on the podcast. So you can see we are here on YouTube, right? We are back in video. Being in video gives us the opportunity to be seen. Hope you like to be seen. If you're not someone who likes to be seen, we might be able to work something out. But my goal is really to give you an opportunity to experience coaching. And I don't mean have an opportunity to ask a question that has a checklist answer, right? So a lot of times people will say, hey, it's time for me to choose new practice management software. How do I go about that? I can give you that answer. I can talk all day about RFPs and different protocols and different technology stacks. And we have resources and countless trainings on how to deal with that stuff, right? I can give you that stuff. But what I'm talking about are the questions that will probe for you to go a little bit deeper. And that means when something's going wrong in your business, don't just ask, what do I need to do? How do I need to solve it? How do I answer this problem? But what am I missing here? Just asking yourself that question sometimes can give you a wealth of knowledge. And I'm going to show you how to do that through our very own Mindset Power Hour, right? So our Mindset Power Hour is kind of one of those branded sections of Law Firm Mentor where I go live once a month and actually talk to our community about some of the head stuff that gets in the way of success. But I'm going to give you an opportunity as you are experiencing things in your business, and you might ask yourself, what am I missing here? I'm going to show you exactly how to spot what that is. So that is how we are going to conduct our third segment, which is about the Mindset Power Hour. And the beautiful thing about that is we're going to give you an opportunity to submit your questions in advance, but until we have a reservoir of those questions and until we're ready to lock and load that, I am still going to be here every week, twice a week, on Mondays and Thursdays. And on those days, I'm going to give you an opportunity to hear a little bit of live coaching. So we have now thousands of hours of coaching, and those coaching sessions, obviously released with the consent of those participating, are going to give you some insights into some of the things that are going right and some of the things that are going wrong. And sometimes just knowing that you're on the right track of how to think about something is the value that you truly need. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this first return episode of the Crushing Chaos with Law Firm Mentor podcast. I'm Allison Williams, the Law Firm Mentor, where here at Law Firm Mentor, we help lawyer CEOs to grow their revenues, crush chaos in business, and make more money. I'll see you next week.